is Laura from LiveVisions.com, and this in front of me, right under here, is an astrology chart, okay? And this gives an astrologer a lot of information about your life. And basically, this is what the heavens look like. This is what the sky looked like on the day you were born. And what happens is, you know, as we go through life and years go by, the planets are still moving, right? They're not stationary. They're still moving in the sky. And what happens is when these planets move around, you know, they're called transits. So when the planets are moving around over here, they activate these planets and activating all of the stuff that happened in your natal chart, right? So what we look at why get an astrology reading? Why should you get one? Why is it important? Okay. It is important to understand what's going on in your chart, what the universe shows you as a person, which shows good things, maybe even some negative things that we look at in a chart, and I'll explain those in a minute. And the timing of these things, what to look out for, what to be more cognizant of when you have a transit coming up, right? So when I do a natal chart, I'm going to look at how you communicate, how you handle your emotions for good or bad. You know, we're going to look at that. Even communication, good or bad. We're going to look at how you communicate, how you handle your emotions, what careers paths you may have. Now, I say paths, plural, because in your life, you're going to have more than one job, right? I'm going to give you an example. My Venus is in the 8th house, right, in Aries. Mine's conjunct the sun, exact time, exact minute, exact degree. So for me, you know, 8th house can have a lot to do with investments, other people's resources, other people's money, right? 8th house can have a lot to do with intimacy, you know, sexual nature, right? 8th house can also have a lot to do with metaphysics, psychic realm, right? Well, I'm going to give you a little background on me. For years, I was in banking, right? Other people's money, right? I was in banking. I was working in a regular bank for years, right? Mortgages, and you know, which is people's investments, right? Handling people's money. And then I went into collections. 8th house is also money you owe others, right? So 8th house, I was a debt collector for a long time for the Department of Education on federally defaulted student loans, right? So I did that a long time. And then I was always into astrology. I was always into metaphysics and all this, all my whole life, right? But then I got really heavy into it at one point, right? Toward the end of my career in collections. And because I had a lot of things going on in my life, I had the death of my parents, the death of my grandma, almost all in 1 year. It was terrible. And I wanted to know, why are these things happening? Like, why? Like, if I made a book, why the hell would I write it like this? It's crappy, right? So anyway, I started to study. Like, I want to know why, and I want to know how I can at least be prepared, right, for any kind of craziness in my life. So I studied astrology even more, and that started me on my thing where I said, you know what, I would love to take what I learned in astrology and help other people with that, right? So that's metaphysics, astrology, metaphysics, it's all 8th house, right? So my Venus is really played out. I had more than one career, and all of those careers were accurate based on my Venus in the 8th house. Now, it's not just your Venus. I'm going to give you some more information. It's not just your Venus. It has to do with your 2nd house, your earned income, your 6th house of work and day-to-day activities, and your 10th house of status in your career, right? And your Venus. Not only does it have to do with that, but it has to do with where the rulerships of those houses are, okay? And if you lost me, that's okay. But if you're learning astrology, you may understand what I'm saying. But I go over all of those things in a natal chart, right? I basically give you a list of careers that you may do in your lifetime based on your astrology chart, right? And I also look at wealth. I look at, do you have lottery aspects? Do you have inheritance, right? How do you handle money? Do you worry a lot? Do you create more lack for yourself, or are you more positive? Do you just think that everything's going to be okay and you're kind of lucky, right? So if you have lottery aspects, just so you know, there's more than one time you can win the lottery in your life. Every time Uranus passes at Jupiter, or, you know, every time Jupiter passes at Uranus, it's an opportunity for greatness in your chart, especially if you have a really good trine or, you know, biquintile or quintile or something like this between Jupiter and Uranus natally in your chart. So when the transiting planets go over these planets, it's going to create a lot of luck for you. So I give you some dates as far as if you have wealth, if you have lottery aspects, and so forth like that. I also look at your love life. I look at, what do you draw in for dating, right? What are you attracted to, right? Are you shy? I look at your Mars. If you're a man, I look at your energy. Mars is like, okay, is he a shy guy? Is he not a shy guy? If you're a female, I look at your energy too. But if you're a female, I'm going to look at your Venus. I'm going to say, okay, how does she flirt, right? Men flirt with their Mars. Women flirt with their Venus, right? Women are attracted to their Mars. Men are attracted to their Venus. It's opposite, okay? So I look at what are you attracted to? How do you flirt? You know, are you shy? You're not shy? What are you drawn for dating? What kind of people are you going to draw in? And where do you meet these people? I look at all those things. And then I look at marriage. You know, who are you going to draw in for marriage? And where do you meet these people, right? And if so, sometimes what marriage are you on? Do you have more than one marriage in your life based on your chart? I also sometimes look at the marriage houses, and then I'm looking at Saturn. Saturn has a lot to do if you're getting divorced, not getting divorced, delays, and, you know, do-overs in marriage kind of a thing, right? And I also look at your sun and your moon. You know, what's going on with that sun and moon? The moon is the mother, the sun is the father. Saturn can be seen as the father too. We want to look at all these things because sometimes it can paint a picture. Saturn's retrograde. I may not have gotten all the validation I needed from growing up from a parent, probably dad. So therefore, I have a fear of investing in relationships, right? I look at this stuff. Is the ruler to your 7th house in your 12th? Meaning, are you in love with people who are unavailable? Do you subconsciously seek out unavailable people because you yourself have a commitment issue? I look at this stuff. And I look at what's causing this commitment issue. What is causing you to have this fear? What is causing you to self-sabotage relationships? So when I do a chart, some people are shocked because they're like, I really never realized I was doing this. But now that you bring it up and you point things out to me, yeah, I guess I have been sabotaging relationships. And no, my father was not in my life. And no, I did not get that validation from him, you know. So sometimes people, when they have a really harsh Saturn that's retrograde, it's kind of like, I'm not going to let you hurt me. I'm going to hurt you, or I'm going to leave before you even get a chance to hurt me, right? So it's kind of like, I'm going to put a toe in the water. I'm not putting a leg, a foot, you know, I'm going to put a toe in. I'm going to see how it goes, right? And I always tell these people, it gets better after 35, but prior to that, it can get better prior to 35 if you understand what you're doing. If a man or a woman is showing you their time, their energy, and their money, they're investing in you, they're honest, they mean what they say what they mean, then it's time for you to let your guard down a little bit and stop being, you know, sabotaging what something could be good. Because with Saturn retrograde, you could shut a lot of people out to the point where you're not letting anybody in. And you're realizing, wow, my life is empty. So it's so important to have an astrology reading. Not only is that important, but it's important because when transits hit, you want to look at when there's planets outside here too. There's planets outside going on. All this wheel, there's planets going on. And when these planets hit some of these planets, like a planet hitting Pluto is going to create transformation, right? A planet hitting Saturn is going to create some sort of restriction, right? A planet hitting your moon, Neptune, could be confusion, or it could also be, you know, emotions. A planet hitting Uranus, unexpected things going on, right? Planet hitting the sun, illumination, right? So you want to look at this, Mars and Venus, passion, right? Mars and Venus. So you want to see when the planet's affecting this. And let's say that there's a planet hitting here, 7th house, right? And you say, all right, well, Saturn's hitting here. Now, Saturn was hitting Libra, right, in this chart right now. This would be an issue or a restriction with relationships, partnerships. What doesn't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse. It tells me this person is going to be tested. So if they're calling me saying, I want a relationship advisor session because my love life sucks right now, well, I see Saturn here, or Pluto, I understand why. Or Uranus even. Uranus tells me somebody wants some sort of liberation right now. Pluto is like, there's a major transformation. There's a major overhaul going on. And it's done over time. It's not quick. Uranus, it could be fast. Now, Saturn, it's like, wow, Saturn, universe is showing you cracks in your relationship. And if you pass all the tests of the cracks and you don't have secrets between your partner. Now, if you have a bunch of lies and secrets, man, Saturn will put that shit in front of your partner like nobody's business. So it tells me a lot. When I look at the transits, I can see exactly what you're going through based on how the transits are hitting. Now, natal reading is great because I can tell you a lot about you, your emotions, your love life, your career, transits that are going on, right? how you handle your emotions, good or bad. You know, sometimes I let people know, like, do you realize your chart really shows a lot of passive aggressiveness? I'm sorry to say, I really see this. Or sometimes I say, you self-sabotage your relationships. Even if it's bad, I let you know, so how can you change it unless you're aware of it, right? All right. So, you know, I also look at, in a relationship session, so let's say you don't want a natal reading, but you wanted a relationship advisor session from me. I want to see what's going on with my partner and me, why we can't get along, why is it we're kind of like two star-crossed lovers or whatever. It's not happening. Or we're going through such a crappy time. Well, I look at the same thing. How do you handle your emotions versus them? How do you communicate versus them? How do you, you know, what are you attracted to versus what are they attracted to? What does your love life look like? What does that 8th house look like of intimacy? What do they want intimately versus what do you want intimately? I mean, that's huge, right? What does it look like? Where may you meet people for dating versus where they may meet people? And it doesn't matter where they may meet. But I have to go over all of these things in a relationship session so you kind of know. And what are they attracted to versus what are you attracted to? What do they draw in versus what are you drawing? What are they drawing in for marriage versus what are you drawing in for marriage? Where may you meet somebody for marriage? Where may you meet your marriage partner? I hope I'm saying that right. Anyway, yes, and I compare. You know, I compare because I'm like, okay, you guys can handle your emotions similarly. You know, he's attracted to this, she's attracted to this. Are you on the same page kind of a thing? That's what I'm looking at. And then I look at where his planets fall into your chart. So what I do is what's called an overlay. I take your partner's planets and I put them in your chart right here on top. And I see how this other person, his planets would be here, how they trigger your natal planets. How is he triggering you? I'm going to give you an example. Have you ever met someone and they bring out the absolute fucking worst in you? Like, oh my God, every time I'm with this person, I want to rip my head out. You know, I want to rip my hair out, or I get so mad. Or every time I'm with this person, I laugh so hard I want to pee in my pants. I laugh so hard, they bring out the most playful, joyful side of me, right? Or, wow, this person really makes me think. This person, I don't know what it is about them. They're like a person of few words, but the words they do say really are profound to me, and it brings about a huge transformation for me, right? So they're an impetus for change for you in some way, right? So these people all over the world, you know, they affect you differently than other people. We're all like this. And I look at how is that a person affecting you? Are they bringing out the worst in you? Are they triggering you in a nasty way or a negative way, right? Does this person have relationship issues based on his chart? Does this person have a fear of intimacy or a fear of always feeling not good enough and you're not going to hurt me, I'm not going to let you in? Self-sabotaging behavior. And I look at, you know, maybe do you always go for unavailable types? You know, do you always try to keep it safe? I'm going to always go for unavailable types. Some people do this subconsciously and you don't even realize it. But your chart shows it. Your chart can show, wow. I say, wow, your dad wasn't in you didn't get some validation you needed? Ah, okay. Well, you keep going for married men or physically or emotionally unavailable men? Well, yeah. Okay. Are you aware of this? Well, yeah, but it's not like I seek that out, they say. Well, in your chart, it shows because of the lack of validation you received as a young person, you may feel like I really don't want to invest in a relationship. I have a fear of commitment because I'm only going to go so far. I'm going to put my toe in because you're not going to hurt me. So it's safer. Subconsciously, you tend to go for unavailable guys, whether they're married or emotionally unavailable, because it's safer for you. Nobody's really calling you to the carpet to put both feet in and jump in the pool. The emotional pool, right? And then all of a sudden you're sitting there going, holy shit, yeah, I kind of do that. Yeah, I do. And maybe that's why you have a really long relationship with somebody who's unavailable, because technically speaking, you're really afraid of emotionally investing yourself. So you have to look at those things, okay? So I look at all those things in relationships. A relationship advisor session can be so informative, so helpful when it comes to how you handle your relationships, how you handle your emotions, or yourself as a person. So to be more aware of where your triggers are and also aware of your positive versus your negative. You want to use your chart. Everybody, just so you know, everybody has positive and negative in their chart, right? It's how you use that energy. So you're using it at a high octave or you're using it at a low octave, right? So, they say in our astrology class when I was studying, our teacher, Guy Spiro, said, everybody has octaves in astrology, right? A high octave and a low octave. We took Hitler's chart and another guy's chart, I forget who it was. And, they had really good aspects, both of them. But Hitler decided to use his energy for the negative, and the other guy decided to use his energy for good. So, it's all in how you use that energy, and how you're aware. Everybody has things they need to overcome. Squares and oppositions are difficult times in a chart, right? But it's how you overcome those things and how you become a better person, right? And how you're aware, like, wow, I know that I have issues with this, or I know I have issues with that. So I need to be hyper aware of how do I change my pattern. I want a different result, so I need to change the pattern. But I have to be aware of the problem in order to change the pattern, right? So astrology can be a huge helpful tool, right? And anyway, and I want to say too, those who are like, I don't believe in astrology, that's fine. But in the words of my astrology teacher, Guy Spiro, he used to say, those who put down astrology know two things about it. One is jack, the other shit. It's true. It's so true. And what do you think? Do you believe in the three wise men in the Bible? Okay, those were astrologers. Hello, hello, hello. Those were astrologers. They knew when a Star of David was in the sky, a king was going to be born, right? So they knew. Anyway, I'm not going to get on my soapbox, but anyway, just want to give you information. I have not been on lately. I'm sorry. I've had other things I'm doing. Busy in other areas of my life. But I try to do many free videos as I can on YouTube for astrology and tarot. I like tarot and astrology both. I like to do the astrology and then add tarot on top of it. That's how I think it should be done, but that's just me. Anyway, if you want a reading from me, links below. Natal readings on sale this week, and the astrology readings are on sale as well. So take a look at those. Anyway, I wish you all the best, and I will talk to you soon, guys. Bye-bye.